Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mandeep Saini again. Let's talk about the part 4 case study analysis. If you are writing a dissertation or an assignment that has case study, so this video is very useful for you how to do case study analysis. So before we start, just to let you know, this is a simplified research method series. This is part 4 case study analysis. We already talked about 3 parts earlier. The first one, how to write an abstract or executive summary. The second part, how to write the subject definition or background of the research. And third one, the critical literature review. This is the part 4 case study analysis. So what do you require for case study analysis? So you are again going to look at what happened, why that happened, or how the issue was resolved. So mainly the case study analysis is something when we will look for a case study document which is published, or we do an action research on a case study, and we look at the different things that what happened over there, why they implemented some of the one of the solution, what was the issue, what was the solution, and how was the process to implement the solution, or what were the results on it. So what, why, how, these are the important things when you are looking at a case study analysis. You should be asking these questions to yourself, and we have talked about those questions in writing a literature review. So on a case study analysis, normally what you do, you read the case study, you describe in your analysis that what is the case study about. You do the analysis of the case study, what is happening on the case study, what was the solution, why do they think that the solution was appropriate, and what were the results on it. So you do discussion, and then you come up with a conclusion on that case study. So let's look at an example of when you are taking 3 case studies or 2 case studies. This is the example of holistic multiple case study. I have talked about the case study approach where I talked about the holistic single, holistic multiple, embedded single, and embedded multiple case studies. So on this example, I have taken 2 cases. So for example, you found 2 cases for your assignment or for your dissertation. You are looking into those 2 cases. So what you are going to do? So for example, case 1, you are going to describe, analyze, discuss, and conclude. And then you are going to do the same thing for case 2, describe, analyze, discuss, and conclude. And then you are going to do cross case analysis. So in the cross case analysis, what will happen? You are going to look at what happened in case 1, what happened in case 2. Was the issue both cases had the same issues or different issues? Did they use the same or different solution, or different they do something differently? So you are going to look into what was the issue, what was the solution to it, and how or what was the conclusion on the cases. So when you do a cross case analysis, then what will happen after the cross case analysis? You come up with a general conclusion on case 1 and case 2 while looking at the similarities and the differences. So this is what is when you are doing holistic multiple cases, when you're using holistic multiple and you have 2 case studies. So this is how it look like. So you are going to analyze case 1, you're going to analyze case 2, and then you are going to give general conclusion, which is based on case 1 and case 2, and look for the similarity and the differences. So that was with 2 case studies. Let's look at another example that has 3 case studies, and see how does that work. So now this is an example of holistic multiple again that has 3 cases. Again, what you are going to do, you are going to look at the case 1, describe, analyze, discuss, and conclude. Then you are going to look at case 2, describe, analyze, discuss, conclude, and case 3. Then you are going to do one cross case analysis between case 1 and case 2. Then you are going to do second cross case analysis between case 2 and case 3, and the third cross case analysis between the case 1 and case 3. So you are doing 3 cross case analysis in when you got 3 case studies. Then you come up with the general conclusion on case 1 and case 2. You come up with the general conclusion on case 2 and case 3. You come up with the general conclusion on case 1 and case 3. So you have 3 different general conclusions as well. And then you come up with the overall general conclusion on these 3 cases. Now you can see when we increase the number of cases, the number of case studies, the case study analysis becomes slightly complicated. So more the number of cases, more the complication will be, and you will be struggling with controlling or monitoring or controlling of your project, of your research project. So more the number of cases, more complicated it could be. Let's look at another example which has 5 case studies. So when you have 5 case studies, holistic multiple, then you can see that you have 5 cases. On those 5 cases, you are going to do describe, analyze, discuss, conclude. And if you look at the cross case analysis, CCA here, so in that 5 case studies, you got 6 CCAs. So cross case analysis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you have general conclusion, which is 1, 2, 3 general conclusions on case 1 and 2 and between case 2 and 3. So you are going to again look at what is happening on those cases, what was the issue on each case, what was the solution they implemented, and what was the results on those cases. So you are going to look at each case individually and then do cross-case analysis between the different cases. And then you come up with the general conclusions, again, GC1, GC2, and GC3, and then you write the final conclusion where you are going to summarize the main finding and make sure whenever you're talking about the cases, you are going to cite them, the views, and do the cross-referencing between the cases. So as you already know that your research is a project and you need to control the project within a specific time. So either you're writing an assignment or you're writing a dissertation or you're writing a PhD thesis, you have a specific time. So more the number of cases, more the time it will take. And obviously time is the money, which is related to the cost of the project. So it is up to you how many cases you want to include in your research. So entirely up to you how many cases you can control. For example, if your assignment you have to submit within 8 weeks or 2 months time, then you might want to take only 2 cases. Having only 1 case is not a very good idea, but at least you should be having 2 cases. If you have a dissertation, which normally you get between 3 to 6 months time for dissertation, you would like to go for between 3 to 5 cases. If you have writing on a thesis, PhD thesis, which have more time, which is about minimum 3 years to 4 years, you might like to have more number of cases. So this is the case study analysis, how you are going to analyze. These are the diagram. I think that if you create those type of diagram for your this assignment or your dissertation, that will be very good, or that gives very good visibility to what you are doing and how do you come up with a case study. Again, for your case studies, same as the literature review, you will be looking at the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Why have you taken those cases for your study? Why you haven't taken some of the cases for your study? So what is the inclusion and exclusion criteria? So thank you very much, Guy. This was the how to write a case study analysis. I will be back with more videos very soon. So thank you very much for watching and see you soon.